The future is green. And yes, green does mean sustainable, but we're talking about the green, known as cannabis, hemp, ganja, weed, and a plethora of other names if you want to keep it small. But the world of cannabis is much bigger than smoke and mirrors. I'm Kendall, the farm plug.
I'm Antoine Mordican.
And I'm Dr. Snap.
And this is Growing the Green.
Welcome everybody. This is Antoine Mordican, your Alabama State Director, and this is your news segment. We got a little bit of news going on here. We're going to start off on the national level because today is November 7th as we record this, and it is election day for a lot of states. And in the great state of Ohio, they will be voting to completely legalize cannabis in the state of Ohio. So those that are out there in Ohio, do a good job. Do your work.
Show up.
Yeah, get out there to them ballots and exercise your civil right as well. In other news as well, the DEA is still considering to move forward with the rescheduling of cannabis itself, but however, they feel like we may run into some hurdles and hiccups along the way, because of course we roll into election year, so that may end up delaying the process and just litigation from different lawsuits in different states to attorney general and stuff like that. It's getting messy, kind of how Alabama medical cannabis program is getting messy. So more news about
Wait, how's it getting messy?
folks are suing attorney generals about how they've been treating cannabis and how they've been charging folks with cannabis offenses, especially those that since it's a double-edged sword. Some states are legal, but still federally is illegal. So the DA are still charging certain folks that they are arresting with marijuana charges when it's legal in the state. So it can get iffy, and then also some folks are suing the people that's not enforcing it because it is still illegal. So yeah, it's going a lot of different ways out there. So litigation, election. So make sure y'all get out here and vote, because I'm pretty sure cannabis is going to be a hot topic in this upcoming election.
It definitely will. But before we keep going with the next news item, I'm just interested to hear you guys' thoughts around, again, I love to engage the conversation, or at least open it up for people to, engage in the dialogue around it of legalization, right, on the federal level, because I always reflect on one of our conversations from our first round of Cannabis KwanzaaCon when we featured Dashida Dawson, the weed head, who's now, the state director for New York City, right? For New York City. And she had said that if we don't legalize the right way, then we shouldn't legalize at all. And part of that whole understanding is that there are still so many people that are locked up for it, that if we just legalize it federally, then it's like it leaves this huge gray area for people who are still incarcerated, and there is no plan to reintegrate them into society or to get any type of restitution for them being locked up while people are actively outside making millions of dollars. So I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on that.
My thoughts is that, regardless of what they do on the federal level, it's still going to take state level actions to be implemented. So even if the state was to legalize it, the federal to legalize on the federal level, but we also need decriminalization with that as well, not just simply legalization, because it'll give the state the rights to be able to implement it how they want to roll out, the new legislation. So on their books right now, even on the federal level, they have cannabis laws. Exactly as they do on the state level. So regardless of what the state do, the state can still, whatever they do on the federal level, the state can still have those cannabis laws in place. And now you're going to have to go through another legislative process to be able to get a lot of that reversed. It's going to be a really slow turning ship, as I'll say. But yeah, it's going to be, it's interesting, and I guess we're just going to see everything play out.
What about you?
We're going to see how it play out, but still, from a federal level, state level, everybody got to be on one accord. If they're not, it's going to be some people outraged, and that's on both ends. Like he said, some people are suing on the front end, certain people suing on the back end, a certain law. So it has to be some type of uniformity. Period.
Okay, I'd just like to open that up, and if you're listening or watching this, definitely engage people in this question, because we have to start thinking about what it'll look like before it actually comes. So that way we can be somewhat positioned and prepared to take advantage of whatever the outcome is. And if we all go out and vote, right, like this week is calling us to do, or really all of the things on earth are calling us to do, these are some of the things that we have to keep in mind of who we're voting for and where they stand on these issues. So just a thought. What else we got for news?
In other news, the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission is still moving forward with their special procedures. The judge has allowed for them to be able to move forward. So we should see a lot of exciting things coming up here in about the next week or two. I know yesterday, which was November 6th, they were supposed to send out the deficiency notices to applicants so they can be addressed. And like the timeline is crazy on these things. Like the notices went out yesterday. You got 10 days to be able to respond.
November 6th. Right, what's today?
November 7th.
7th. So the
16.
The deficiency letters went out November 6th, and you have till November 16th to respond to them.
That's right.
Okay.
Then by November 9th, they'll be pretty much giving the applicants information about the application evaluators and things like that. As well, they'll be closing off the window to be able to apply, to be able to present to the commission. Then they go about sliding folks to be able to select, sliding them on who requested to be able to present. They also sent out a little bit of information about that, about how folks can be able to present and stuff like that.
How are they gonna have enough time to allow everybody who want to present?
It's not required. It's optional.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is it mandatory, and how does it impact your scores, if at all?
It doesn't impact your scores. The commission has full discretion on how they want to go about issuing and awarding these licenses. It may be a good look if you get in front of the commission to be able to plead the story, you know, the reasons why you're doing stuff in companies, you know, to be able to have a dialogue about your application or to be able to present it. And then, you know, you ain't necessarily got to do it. If you already feel like you got a license or your situation is strong or you just simply don't want to get up there and speak, you don't have to. So for them to, that's why they're cutting off November 9th to kind of start building up that timeline and seeing if they're going to need more time to allot for it or they'll be able to get it done on the timeline that they are anticipating, which they plan on starting the presentations November 27th. That meeting starts at 10 o'clock. I know a company that will be out there presenting. Y'all might want to check them out and support. And then they'll be rolling down from there. So we don't know who all has applied as of yet. I'm not sure if they're going to make an announcement on who will be presenting. I don't know if that's going to be information they're going to post to the public, or at least on the agenda.
So it could be some people who missed the first round, and now they coming in now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, because it's back open to the public, so that means they could just jump on in if they wasn't.
No, it's
not open to
night.
the public. When he says open to the public, it means that you can come and watch.
No, I mean, if they previously did not apply.
No, it's over with.
Yeah, it's over
with. It's only for people who have applied for the previous round.
Yeah, it's
the same group of people are allowed another. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So this is to
address
the fact that they ran it improperly.
Yeah.
So it would be totally unfair to open it back up and let people come back in, because that part actually in the process wasn't bad. Like they had a window for you to request, right? Then that closed, and then there was a window for you to receive and to fill it out and to turn it back in. And so it's from that moment of turning it in and grading it and evaluating it, I should say, that's where all the discrepancies and the confusion has come in. So they're basically in the process of running it all back from that point of evaluation, because everyone is basically going to keep suing them unless they could really come up with a rubric that is substantial.
That's right. So they'll have the opportunity to be able to present again and hopefully be able to sway the commission on why they should be awarded a license. All right, so the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, they got a lot of things that'll be rolling out here. And the goal is for them to start the presentations November 27th. They'll be re-awarding all the licenses December 1st, but not all the licenses. All the licenses except vertically integrated. And then they're going to go into doing presentations for vertically integrated. then they'll be re-awarding those licenses maybe about a week later after that. So it's a lot of stuff that got to happen in between them, but they're able to move forward, and we'll see what shakes down here in Alabama in the next couple weeks.
And so just so we can have a total refresher, because this is just where we are at this point, there were 5 different categories that you could apply for a license, right? And what were they? Cultivation,
processing, dispensary, secure transportation, and vertically integrated. Which is all of those, except lab testing.
Oh yeah, because you can't test your own stuff. So, do you know how many licenses were available for each group? I know cultivation was 12.
Yeah, so cultivation is 12. That's really the only group that they can still award licenses and not make people mad. Mm-hmm. Dispensary is only 4. Processing is only 4. Lab testing is unlimited. Secure transportation is unlimited. And vertically integrated is 5.
Wow.
Why the limits?
That's what the legislation came up with.
Which is pretty wild, because after this process closes, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts around the second round? Will there be
game locked up? It's sold up. Once all the licenses are issued, either somebody else falls off by not paying their annual fee, because we will have to resubmit every time, to renew the license. But so nobody's gonna let go of their license. So the game is pretty much sold up until new legislation open the window.
But even if we get a new commission that decides to open up a second round, it'll still be kind of like slim pickings, because the people who are already in will have probably put it on lock, unless we see like what we've been seeing in other states.
The only way we see a second round if they don't issue all the licenses. So let's say, for example, they don't issue all the cultivation licenses. They'll allow for a second round of cultivators to be able to apply for those, 4 or 5 licenses that may be available. But dispensary is only 4. So processing 4. So vertically integrated 5. So that's secure transportation. Yeah, you probably be able to apply more for those. So there's no limit on those. And lab testing. Yeah, you may be able to get in on those. But the ones that folks really want will be sold up.
Wow. I know that there are some places where they couldn't keep cannabis on the shelves, right? But I don't think Alabama will be like that, just because of the concentration of people, how things like the population is spread out. If you get 4 people that are vertically integrated, and they can open up unlimited stores, can't they?
They can open up. I think at least 4 or 5 dispensaries. They do have a limit on how many dispensaries that they can have, but on cultivation, ain't no limit.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. We learned something. So that kind of, let's segue into our topic for the day, right? And our topic today is looking at HBCUs and the cannabis industry, right? So I think it's really fitting to start out with what are some of the HBCUs that are already in the cannabis space, whether that be retail, dispensaries, research and development, or...
So just to name a few, right? So we got...
Alabama got for sure. Right. We're already doing research on the hemp sector of it, touching on what the different things for concrete use, for aquaponics, hydroponics, just different research for genetics and cultivars to see what work and grow in the South, even down to the fibrous strains and things like that. They've been doing some phenomenal work, so I got to give Alabama A&M University a big shout out.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to shout out Dr. Seabird too, because we took a tour up there. Hopefully we can throw some B-roll in of that whole excursion, so you can at least see some of what we had the chance to see.
Great experience.
Awesome experience. What was it like for you? What would you say about their program?
I mean, just
you're biased, so we not.
So I was impressed by just seeing the different ways that they were growing it. Or the different varieties. So they had bushy plants, which are more so for flower, but then I also saw some tall, slender plants that were, used for more so the fiber, which is more my interest, fiber and all the industrial aspect of it, So that was my most exciting aspect, was seeing that industrial piece.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree. I think I love the health and wellness aspect to the conversation, but when we start talking about again climate change and material science and replacing plastic with industrial hemp and hemp fibers and textiles, I think that's where I really get excited thinking about the future. And I can definitely say that y'all are going pretty hard up there.
Yeah,
so
I must say, shout out Dr. Siebert for a lot of work it is that y'all been doing, especially on the agriculture side. I'm really excited for the time when the engineering and the agriculture department cross. Once they connect, I think we're going to see a wealth of
engineering is a thing.
Well,
I see a wealth of innovation coming when that happens. I'm excited for that. So yeah, A&M is definitely one of the universities, HBCUs that's involved. Florida,
FAMU.
Yeah, FAMU. They've been at it for a while. It's actually so what's unique about FAMU, which I learned about it maybe a few years ago in the Florida medical program and everything. For every card that is given out, FAMU get $10 from everybody that gets a card to be able to support Florida FAMU. So
and speaking on like the medical marijuana education and research initiative, correct?
Yeah,
that they have.
Yeah, so that's how they was able to generate funding that specifically for them, which I think we need to start doing something like that in the state of Alabama, or at least focusing on HBCUs to be able to at least create a pot that they can be able to break down for research purposes.
That's super dope. I know I think either last year or the year before, this will be our 3rd year doing Cannabis Con. I'm going to shamelessly plug that like a lot. But we featured this sister named Jasmine. I can't remember her last name. I think the company was Green Essence. Just having a conversation with her about, navigating the terrain down there. And something else that's really interesting about FAMU is that they also have a law school. And their law school is not located in Tallahassee where the main campus is. The law school is located in Orlando because there was a legislation that said that they couldn't have one, which is a whole interesting backstory. But I know that it was kind of tumultuous for them. A lot of people are not happy with the way that policy went. And felt like they should have been able to get more than just $10 to be able, because from what I understood, they're actually not able to do research. Like that was one of the trade-offs of
the $10.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So they are benefiting from every card that gets handed out, but I'm not sure if the benefits are all the way as extensive that other states would want to copy it verbatim. Like there may be some things that we want to interchange. And I know, of course, Tuskegee, we're doing a lot of our outreach and our untraditional, unconventional education programs, reaching out to people. In addition to having SMART, which is the Student Marijuana Alliance for Research and Transparency, which in a lot of other places is a club, but at Tuskegee it's a co-curricular program. So we're actually working to create some certificates within the cannabis industry so that people can come, take some classes either online, have some physical labs with any one of the schools in Alabama that we're partnering with, so that people can get that education, get that opportunity to either touch the plant or to just learn how the plant is working.
Experience is critical.
Definitely.
And Medgar Evers, say that?
Medgar Evers
College in New York became the first university of New York campus to offer a cannabis minor degree program. So,
which is dope because that's one of the city universities of New York, which means that it's actually like they have a bunch of universities all throughout the boroughs, right? So it's kind of like cooperative extension, but I mean their cooperative extension institution is Cornell. But they don't have an 1890 university, so a lot of like their city programs are pretty popping, pretty substantial. So for them to incorporate that and have that foresight is pretty dope. I also think about I got to shout out Southern University with Dr. Snowden down there at the they actually have a medicinal herb research center, and I can appreciate that because the cannabis research falls under that center. So they're not just looking at cannabis, and even when they have that conversation, they categorize it within a herb, like it's a medicinal herb. And I can appreciate that reframing of the constitution of the plant and the research around it. And they also, I believe, they're the first ones to have a strain or to have a product to go to market.
They're licensed. They're a licensed cannabis operator.
I think it's only 2 in Louisiana,
which is unique.
Is Southern University and is it LSU? Yeah,
it might be LSU.
Yeah. I think they're the only 2 anything that can grow medical cannabis.
Which is pretty dope. And shout out to Southern, because they also have a law school. So for them to be able to tie that research, development, and policy into the work that they've got going on, especially with things like Angola Prison down there, which houses so many black bodies for this plant, is kind of revolutionary. Hopefully, again, when we get into that federal conversation, it's places like Louisiana that it is really nuanced whether or not we go federal or not, which is dope. But what are some other universities or HBCUs?
So Clark Atlanta has they have the nation's first certificate in regulation affairs on cannabis control.
Okay.
Right, so that's Clark Atlanta.
Oh, and I would also, speaking of Atlanta, Morehouse School of Medicine. They're going super hard. Especially with Georgia having been the first state to roll it into the pharmaceutical program. So for them to have a medical school in that environment is a lot of opportunity and potential there too. So if you're a student that is thinking about entering this space, or really not even, and student is a lifelong process, right? Learning is a lifelong process. So there is no age limit on what makes you a student. So if you're someone who's thinking about going back to school and you definitely want to go to a HBCU, these are some of the top tier programs that can give you that support, that historical black legacy, while also putting you in the industry in real time as it's unfolding. In North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm happy to see more HBCUs actually participating in it in some fashion, versus just kind of letting things happen around them and just missing the boat, because there's a lot of research dollars in it. Just like the state of Alabama, they're gonna have a budget of the money allocated for research purposes for the universities here in Alabama, and we have to make sure that the HBCUs see some of that dollar as well too. So I'm interested to learn more about how these other HBCUs are being involved, or if it was in their legislative process that carved out a section for them, to make sure that we have that kind of diverse participation in it, and as we continue to grow and develop, understand the plant. I just think that's really dope. I just think that's really dope.
I do, and I would love to just sit here and act like it's all, willy-nilly peach cobbler about the way that I know our universities have been rolling out. In a lot of ways, I would love to see more transparency around what the potential of these programs looks like, and for the students to be able to have a say. Because ultimately, if you don't have graduate students that can do this research or support these research initiatives, then it's kind of like, people in change and transformation doesn't happen in a vacuum. And I think that science is a prime example of that. So if you are a researcher or someone who does cannabis research within a specific bubble, it's important. It's really imperative that you find ways to pop that bubble and to get the conversation outside of the circle that you're having it in. Because just like at Tuskegee, we have a School of Social Work, we have the College of Nursing and Allied Health, where we have occupational therapy and nursing, and we also have a College of Engineering with electrical, chemical, manufacturing, mechanical engineering, right? And so cannabis has space in all of these spaces, right? In all of these industries. So if we don't intentionally have the conversation in the beginning and plan strategically at the beginning of these programs, then kind of like what you're saying, Antoine, not only will we miss out on the research dollars, but we miss out on the integrative, collective development of our institutions. What Southern is doing. So shout out Southern.
Right. Shout out Southern. Y'all got some good stuff going. Especially being in the industry.
Right.
So just being a part of the industry is a big thing. To being able to sell product, that's a big thing.
And that speaks more to the alumni that these institutions produce.
Definitely.
I can speak about myself, my experience from Alabama A&M University, even though I didn't go there for cannabis, but I kind of, the spark started back at A&M, and it was simply just a research paper that I chose to do. But having those alumni that lead those institutions to start their own businesses, now they are actually in the cannabis industry or part of the cannabis industry. So to be able to be a part of that, have a stake in the industry as well as your university affiliations and ties, as well with the research that you may have already done when you was there. Now we can compound on top of that and continue to build more and build additional resources and opportunities for incoming students, for the undergrad, as well developing new opportunities for the graduates. So now let's say I build this cultivation facility and I have a partnership with, the HBCUs here in Alabama where they can have, co-ops and interns to come just to be able to get hands-on experience so they can learn more about the industry.
Resume building.
Yeah, even down from the plant touching of it, down to the administrative side of it, down even to the business side of it. This industry is a lot and we can touch in every aspect of it, down to innovation, engineering, technology, data analytics, business operations, management operations, procedures, OSHA, compliance.
Yeah,
it's so much. Yeah, it's so many holes you can poke in that you can.
It's a whole industry. It's all encompassing. So before we wrap up, I would be remiss if I did not shout out the SMART and SSDP partnership for the Free the Plant, Free the People program.
Yes.
Free the Plant, Free the People initiative. So again, SMART stands for the Student Marijuana Alliance for Research and Transparency, and SSDP stands for Students for Sustainable Drug Policy. So they have partnered together. We also got to shout out our man DJ Howard, who is the program lead for this. So if you all have questions, definitely just Google DJ Howard, SSDP, and SMART, or definitely check out freetheplant.fyi. And I just want to give a shout out to the 10 HBCU students who are chosen for the second ever freetheplant.fyi Cannabis Industry Accelerator. And those students are Nisha Clemens from Elizabeth City State University, Naja Adams from Howard University, Hannibal Hendricks from Morehouse College, Tremaine Johnson from Morehouse College, Xavier Yancey from Florida Agricultural A&M, and Mechanical from FAMU, shout out. We have Carolyn Perino from Southern University Law Center. We have Amina Childs from North Carolina A&T, Kiana Thomas from Fayetteville State University, Kiera F. Austin from Tuskegee University, TU, and then we also have Jay Collier from Auburn University. Technically not an HBCU, but we will accept it, and you can always come down to Tuskegee if you want some more support. But we definitely want to give a shout out to you all, and if you all want more information, again, always feel free to hit us up. But before we wrap up, I would ask you all, you already know, what are the 3 things that you would want to see from HBCUs in the cannabis industry in the future?
Number one, I would like for every HBCU to be like Southern, to be able to come out with products, to be able to, have the law aspect, to be able to be in the game. That's number one. Number 2, participate in your local club. It should be a smart club at every HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
At every HBCU, you should have a smart club. Student Marijuana Alliance for Research and Transparency, right? And number 3, go out and vote. Go out and vote, because these policies, these politicians, this stuff is not going to change until you become active. So go vote.
I would like to piggyback off of that. Definitely go and vote. I would like to see more HBCU presence in a lot of these conversations and legislative processes as it goes forward, as well as being a part of the conversation, especially with the emerging industry, developing our youth, our upcoming leaders about the opportunities in the cannabis space, so we can, be a staple, and also, pushing out quality, HBCUs, man, we push out some of the best, professionals that we have to offer. What else I would like to see? I would like to see our HBCUs be open to the conversations. Lean more on your younger alumni, your current student body, and your existing current leadership. To have a softer mind, to be a sponge, to be able to absorb the information and really process it and recognize the opportunity you have in front of you versus having a hard head and just kind of blocking it out and just looking at the stigma that it normally is. Because it's the future, it's now, so it's here. So I would like to see a lot more of that from our HBCUs.
I would definitely like to see that industry initiative. I would love to see like Southern how it's not just theoretical, right? Not only are we giving you the tools and the labs to get, familiar with the plant, but here's the actual industry for you to stand in a dispensary and get your customer service skills up. And understanding accounting, understanding inventory for an agricultural entity. It's just so much vertical integration and opportunities for learning there. So I would love to see that, a vertical integration, not only program, but I would say a mindset, which would be my second thing. For the leadership at these institutions to, again, talk to the people at the bottom, talk to the students, talk to the freshmen, talk to incoming high schoolers about the realities of this. The same way we have like a freshman orientation week where they talking about like, how to not, rape culture and, underage drinking and dare on drugs and stuff like that. I would like to see that, the education aspect incorporated into the beginning. And I would also like to see more activity around policies. So not only going out to vote, but definitely like having organization around the liberation of this plant on every level, because having expungement clinics and doing things to get the word out about what this plant is, what the power and the potential of it is, and what it really means for our community. Because ultimately, no one can grow the green alone. It takes a community that is willing to learn together and sow seeds of growth. And those are the seeds that we plan to keep on growing. So let's keep learning, reaping, and sowing together here at Growing the Green.